Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We will start with quote of the day, which is indeed what is to come will be better for you than what has gone by. I'm Dr. Temia Ayub, and today I will be presenting the topic of primary health care and related indicators under the supervision of Professor Dr. Saira Afzal, who is my supervisor and Dean Institute of Public Health. Basically, this is a figure which is quite busy, but it is giving us a summary of what we will be doing today. Starting with the left side, we have input indicators, and then we have process indicators, and then we have output indicators. And all this is goes around our healthcare system and how we can improve them. I will try to go through all this one by one. First, we will do input indicators, then we will cover the process indicators, and then output indicators. First, we will cover them generally with the point of view of global and a global perspective, and then we will focus on those indicators which are present in Pakistan, particularly in Punjab. Through DHIS2, and how the government or the administration is looking at these indicators, and how these indicators can be linked to the improvement in the progress and better outcomes for the for everybody, and also how these indicators can be linked to the WHO building blocks. So we will start. So, primary health care and indicator framework. Primary healthcare performance is commonly assessed using the input, process, and output model recommended by the World Health Organization. So, we will go follow the same sequence. Okay, so this figure is quite busy, but I found it was useful. So it is health service evaluation framework for remote communities. Again, there is structure, process, and then we have outcomes. So for structure performance, we have accessible, appropriate, effective, responsive, continuous, efficient. And then for process is the utilization performance, which is again accessible, appropriate, effective, responsive, continuous, efficient. And then outcome performance is measured by mortality, morbidity, risk factor, health behaviors, well-being, and equity. And all these are the key foundations. And then we have sustainability, essential services, quality of care, national performance indicator, community determinants of health, which are different socioeconomic status, education, income, employment. And the base is fundamental enablers, which are supportive policy, commonwealth state relationship, community readiness to change. So, this complex figure is showing us how the things are working and how health service can be evaluated for particularly for remote communities. So, we will start with input indicators, which are telling us about structure or resources. So, input indicators measure the availability, adequacy, and readiness of resources required to deliver primary healthcare services. They answer the questions: do we have what is needed to provide care? So, for number one, for input indicators, we have human resource indicators. For human resource indicator, key measures are doctor to population ratio, nurse or midwife to population ratio, lady healthcare worker coverage, staff vacancy rate, skill mix at facility level. These are some of the examples which were relevant. And the examples of these key measures are number of doctors per BHU, number of BHUs with at least one trained midwife, or population covered by one LHW. And the interpretation which these indicators give us that if they are in shortage, poor access and quality of healthcare is being given to the people. And if it is maldistribution, for example, urban or rural inequity, it also points the government or the administration towards the future recommendation or future changes which should be done. So these are some of the indicators related to human resource. Now we come to infrastructure indicator. Some of the key measures are number of functional BHUs or RHCs, facility density per population, or availability of basic utilities. And examples of these are percentage of BHUs with electricity and clean water, percentage of facilities which are operational 24/7, and average distance to the nearest primary healthcare facility. Then we have medicines and supplies indicator. For these, key measures are availability of essential drugs, stock out rates, supply chain reliability. And the examples include facilities with essential drug list available, number of days with stock out of antibiotics, availability of vaccine at EPI center. So, as you can imagine, these are few of the examples. So, everything related to medicine and supplies and can be put into these indicators. Equipment and logistics indicator. Key measures are availability of functional equipment, cold chain maintenance, and for example, facilities with working BP apparatus, percentage EPI centers with functional refrigerators. Then we have financial input indicators. For that, key measures are per capita primary healthcare expenditure, budget share for preventive care. Examples are percentage of health budget allocated to primary healthcare, funds released versus funds utilized for each facility, and for overall the health system also. So these indicators uh, can work at different levels. Okay, so these were some of the main input indicator, and the main summary from the input indicator is that if we have strong inputs, potential capacity is there in the system, but it does not guarantee performance. So the indicators give us a good indication, or throw good light on what is the capacity or potential capacity of the health system or of that particular facility, but they do not mean that everything will work according to the plan or everything is working smoothly. For that, we come to the process indicators, which reflect the service delivery and quality of service delivery. Process indicator assess how well inputs are used to deliver primary healthcare services. They answer the question, how are services actually being delivered? For process indicator, we have first of all service utilization indicator. For that, key measures are OPD attendance or coverage of key services. For examples, OPD visits per capita per year, percentage of pregnant women registers for antenatal care, percentage of children brought for immunization, or interpretation for the service utilization indicator is that if there is low utilization, there is lack of access, awareness, or trust issues. So the focus should be on that. Then we have quality of care indicators. For that, key measures are adherence to clinical guidelines, patient safety practices. For example, percentage of cases managed according to STGs, percentage of facilities practicing infection prevention, or correct prescription rate. These are some of the examples. Then we have continuity and comprehensive indicators, for which key measures are follow-up care, range of services offered. Examples include percent chronic patient with regular follow-up, availability of MNCH, family planning, NCD services at primary healthcare. Then we have referral service system indicator, and key measures are referral appropriateness, feedback mechanisms. Examples include percentage of referral accompanied by referral slip, percentage of referral receiving feedback. And finally, we have community outreach indicator. For that, key measures are outreach visits, health promotion activities. For example, number of LHW household visits or health education sessions conducted. So the summary for process indicator is that good processes means that efficient and quality service delivery is being done. And finally, we have output indicators. Output indicators tell us about immediate results. They are not outcome indicators, they are output. So they measure the direct short-term results of primary healthcare activities. They answer the question, what has primary healthcare produced? For example, we have maternal health outputs. For example, percentage of women receiving more than greater than 4 antenatal care visits, or number of institutional deliveries, or percentage of postnatal care coverage. Similarly, we can have child health outputs. For example, fully immunized child rate, percentage of children receiving vitamin A, or growth monitoring coverage. Then we can have family planning outputs. For example, contraceptive prevalence rate (CPR), new family planning acceptors, method specific uptakes. Then it can be also applicable to communicable disease outputs. For example, TB case detection rate, percentage of malaria cases diagnosed and treated, number of HIV screenings. Then NCD and preventive outputs. For example, numbers screened for hypertension or diabetes, health education session coverage. So, output indicators can be specific to a particular facility or particular kind of work we want, or the focus of the, depending on the focus on the health system or health department, output indicators can change depending upon the scenario. So outputs are not the same as outcomes. Output, for example, output is immunization coverage, but outcome is reduction in measles incidence. So outcome tells us about the long term goals and the actual achievement of the goals, whereas the output is telling us about the short term results which are immediately evident. So this is the summary table, which is telling us about the indicator type on focus, which what indicator focus on which, and examples. We will start with input indicator. It focuses on resources, and examples include staff, drugs, and facilities. Then we have process indicator, which focuses on service delivery. For example, antenatal care visits, referrals. And then we have output indicators, which tells us about immediate results. For example, immunization coverage. Then we have Pakistan DHIS indicator summary table. Um, Similar are the indicators, but the examples are taken from the DHIS too. For example, for input, we have staff posted, facility, is facility functional or not, and drug availability. For process, we have OPD visits, antenatal care visits, immunization sessions. And for output, we have antenatal coverage, FIC rate, and family planning uptake. These are some of the figures from the DHIS2 Punjab dashboard, and it is showing us, for example, on the left side, OPD outpatient department. These are showing us the number of visits in MCH, DHQ hospital, basic health units, or rural health centers. And similarly, on the right side, we have antenatal care services. So this dashboard tells a variety of things. Similarly, this is about the reporting of percentage of stock out drugs, and 4.27% if reporting is regularly being done or irregularly being done. Number of functional and reporting health facilities, which facilities are reporting regularly. Antenatal care services, what facility is providing what. A disease pattern, what kind of diseases are mostly coming. And again, outpatient department, which type of facility is getting the most burden. Or so now I will try to explain again all these indicator input, process, and output with particular focus on the DHIS2 system. The previous half of the presentation was about giving you an overview of what indicator means, what are these three types of indicator, and what are the some of the examples and some of the important points which come in these indicator. So as you can see in this figure, for the center is the DHIS2, and around it are the health workforce, OPD visits, antenatal care visits, immunization, family planning, data, and reports. So the all these and many other factors come into, but for the center is the DHIS2 system, which is telling us about most about the um, uh, indicators, and indicators are being measured and documented digitally through this system. So, linking DHIS indicators with health system building blocks in Pakistan. The World Health Organization describes six health building blocks. In Pakistan, DHIS2 primarily captures data related to five blocks at the primary healthcare level. So these are the six building blocks of WHO, which we have also mentioned previously: service delivery, health workforce, information, medical products, vaccine or technologies, financing, leadership, and governance. So DHIS2 is primarily capturing data related to five, and now we will see which five are those. In Pakistan, DHIS2 operationalizes the WHO health system building block at the primary care level. Service delivery is monitored through OPD, MNCH, and EPI indicators, workforce availability through staffing data, medical product through drug and vaccine availability, governance through reporting completeness and supervision indicator. However, financing and leadership component are only indirectly captured, highlighting the need for complementary data sources. First of all, we have service delivery. What DHIS captures is the process and output indicators through this. Primary healthcare service indicator is, for example, OPD attendance, whether male are coming, female, or under five children, antenatal care registration and visits, institutional deliveries, wherever applicable, depending on the level of institution, immunization sessions, family planning services, outreach, and health education sessions. Examples from DHIS include OPD visits per capita, percent of pregnant women with more than 4 ANC visits, and fully immunized child rate. Then we have health workforce. What DHIS captures is the input indicator. Human resource indicator, doctors posted, LHVs and midwives, vaccinator, LHW linkage coverage, staff vacancies. For example, from DHIS, that number percentage of BHUs with sanctioned post filled, staff to facility ratio. Health workforce data in DHIS reflects availability but not competency. So this is very important point. Health information system. Watch DHIS is capturing the cross-cutting block. Core functions are monthly facility reporting, data completeness, timeliness of reporting, and data validation checks. For example, percentage of facilities submitting reports on time, and we saw that on the dashboard also. Data completeness rate also. Medical products, vaccine, and technologies. These are input and process indicator according to DHIS. Supply side indicator include availability of essential medicines, vaccine stock status, cold chain equipment functionality, basic diagnostic equipment availability. For example, percentage of facilities without stock out of essential drug, percentage of EPI center with functional refrigerators. DHIS highlights supply availability but not rational drug use. So, this is again an important point. Health financing, for that particular building block, DHIS is capturing a very limited amount and indirectly. Indirect indicators are fund utilization rate in some provinces, budget execution monitoring from linked systems. What DHIS does not capture well is out of pocket expenditure or financial protection indicators. So it is only capturing what it can through indirect indicators. Health financing is weakly represented in DHIS and requires complementary systems. Finally, we have leadership and governance. It is also measured or captured indirectly by DHIS system. Governance related indicators include facility functionality status, compliance with reporting, supervision visits were included. For example, percentage facilities submitting reports regularly, facilities flagged for non-performance. So this figure is showing us a summary of how we move from primary health care, particularly focusing on BHU, RHC, and community level. What input indicators we have, telling us about system readiness and structure. Then we have process indicator, which are focusing on service delivery and quality of care. They include service utilization, quality of care, continuity and comprehensiveness, referral system, and community outreach. And finally, we have output indicator telling us about immediate results of primary health care. And these can be measure maternal health outputs, child health outputs, family planning outputs, communicable disease outputs, and NCD and other preventive outputs. And all this leads to improved access and coverage to improve the health system. So this slide was showing us the summary of what we have tried to uh, catch throughout the presentation. Now we are going to go to the MCQ portion of the um, this our presentation. So we have MCQ 1. Which of the following indicator best reflects facility readiness to deliver primary healthcare services? A. OPD visits per capita per year. B. Fully immunized child rate. Or C. Percentage of BHUs with electricity and clean water. D. Percentage of women receiving more than 4 antenatal care visits. Or E. TB case detection rate.
A.
B.
C.
So it is C because we want to reflect about the facility readiness. So it is C, percentage of BHUs with electricity and clean water. A district health manager notes that several BHUs have sanctioned post filled, but service utilization remains low. Which type of indicator best explains this gap? Input indicator only, output indicator, process indicator, or impact indicator, or financial indicator?
C.
Yes,
C.
it is C.
C.
Yes, it is C because the input is there in form of the facilities, but the utilization is low. So the focus should be on process indicator and how to improve them. A BHU reports zero stock out of antibiotics, yet inappropriate antibiotic prescribing is common. This limitation of DHIS2 mainly reflects which issue? Poor service delivery measurement, lack of outcome indicators, inability to capture rational drug use, weak leadership and governance, or incomplete reporting.
C.
Yes, it
E.
is C. It is C. Inability to capture rational drug use. Which indicator is most appropriately categorized as a process indicator? Number of functional BHUs, OPD visits per capita, contraceptive prevalence rate, fully immunized child rate, TB case detection rate.
B.
Yes, it is B, OPD visits per capita. These are showing us about the process indicator. A province wants to access continuity of care for patients with chronic diseases at primary healthcare level. Which DHIS indicator is most relevant? New OPD registration, percentage of chronic patients with regular follow-up, availability of sorry, availability of antihypertensive drugs per capita primary healthcare expenditure, or institutional delivery rate.
B.
Yes, it is
B.
B. It is B. Percentage of chronic patients with regular follow-up because we want to assess continuity of care. Which statements correctly differentiate output indicator from outcome indicator? Output measure long-term mortality reduction. Outputs are captured through population-based survey only. Outputs reflect immediate results of PHC activities. Outputs are unrelated to service delivery. Outputs measure patient satisfaction only.
C.
Yes, they reflect immediate results. Within the WHO health system building block, DHIS2 mostly directly represents which block? Leadership and governance, health financing, health information system, community participation, or social determinants of health.
C.
C.
Yes, yes, health
C.
information system. health information system. A district shows high antenatal coverage but maternal mortality remains unchanged. Which explanation is most appropriate based on the PHC indicator framework? Input indicators are irrelevant. ANC coverage is an impact indicator. Outcome and impact require data beyond DHIS. DHIS data are invalid, or process indicators should be ignored.
C.
Yes, it is C. Outcomes and impact require data beyond DHIS. Which of the following aspect of health system is least well captured by DHIS2 at primary healthcare level in Pakistan? Service delivery, health workforce availability, medical products and technology, health financing and financial protection, or outreach activities? For
D.
DHIS2, particularly it's
D.
D, yes, health financing and financial protection. It does not tell about out-of-pocket expenditure or the expenditure from the patient perspective or what is actually being spent in for one patient. So this is the answer key. This is the YouTube channel link where this video will be uploaded, and thank you very much for listening.